So my mission will be to close the gap of hope should I become your president. I'd like to usher in what I call the responsibility era, an era that stands in stark contrast to the past, which has said if it feels good, do it, and you got a problem, blame somebody else, to an era which each and every one of us understand we're responsible for the decisions we make in life, that we are responsible for loving the children we bring in this world, and we're responsible for loving a neighbor like we'd like to love ourselves. By the way, Steve, and you know this, individual responsibility also needs to translate into corporate responsibility as well. There's a responsibility for corporate America to worry about the quality of the neighborhoods in which they exist, in the communities in which they exist, and I know your great company has assumed that responsibility. I believe as well that America must redouble our efforts, to make sure every person gets educated. I got a pretty clear vision about what ought to happen, starting with what not ought to happen, and that is we don't need to federalize the schools in America. One size does not fit all. The way I like to put it is the people of New Hampshire care more about the quality of the education of the children who live in New Hampshire than somebody who lives in a far distant city. Should I become your president, I will pass power back from Washington, D.C. to the states. I believe in aligning authority and responsibility. But I also know that if we spend federal money, we ought to demand accountability. If we spend federal money on disadvantaged children, if children get trapped in failed schools and there's nothing to do to change it, I intend to do something about it by freeing their parents to make different choices. Because we're not going to trap children in failed schools as far as I'm concerned. There are no second-rate children in my vision for America, and there are no second-rate dreams.
You know, politicians give you many promises, and in the 7 minutes that we have tonight, there's not going to be much time to tell you about Kosovo and about China and all my ideas on Social Security reform and all the rest of it. But I will do this evening. I will make to you one central promise, that if by the grace of God I am selected to be the nominee of this party, and if by the grace of God the American people choose me to be the next president, I will devote every waking hour of my presidency to making sure that every American child is welcomed into the world and protected by the law. I will devote every ounce of my presidency to make sure that our children will never again in America have to die for their faith. And I will promise you that the judges I put on the courts of America will hang up the 10 Commandments in every courtroom chamber so that the ACLU won't know who to sue next.
And, ladies and gentlemen, the next president must get really tough on crime. Tough on crime, no matter what the special interests say. I think we have to do everything, and this is very important, to help our police fight crime. We have to have tough, enforceable laws. That means retaining the ban on assault weapons. It means, in terms of the... Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you need an AK-47 to defend your family. Also, in terms of cop killer bullets, I think that we have to eliminate all forms of cop killer bullets, bullets which would pierce the soft armor worn by our police force. That's very important. I also favor safety locks, yes, safety locks on guns to protect our children. And the instant background check, a very important federal law.
I'm ready to bring down the curtain on the Clinton-Gore Magic Act. I'm ready to lead a campaign to bring out the best in this country. I've prepared to do that by serving as governor twice, as university president, as education secretary, by co-founding a business. Like Presidents Bush and Reagan and Nixon, I have run once before. I have even walked across New Hampshire from Concord to the sea. Other than your elected representatives, no one has spent more time listening to what you have to say about taxes, about Social Security, and about your hopes for the future. I have done that because it will make me a better candidate and a better president. I have done that because I know that our nomination can't be bought, can't be inherited, It has to be earned, and I am here tonight to earn it. Give me the opportunity. Give me the opportunity. And I will wake up every day thinking of how to create the best schools, the best parents, the strongest military, and the best economy.
We are choosing a president of the United States, and I realize the last couple of years we've made all kinds of nonsensical statements. We've listened to all kinds of stupid drivel about the presidency. We have heard them tell us it's the economy, stupid, and moral character doesn't matter, and integrity can be thrown to the winds. The presidency of the United States is not the presidency of a widget factory. He is the commander-in-chief of the most awesome military power ever assembled in the history of the world. That is the most awesome moral responsibility any human being can be called upon to bear. And that means that the first requirement of the presidency is moral character, moral judgment, moral conscience, moral decency, and moral shame. And Bill Clinton has none of them. But if we mean to provide leadership for the American people, then we're going to have to do more than mouth platitudes. We're going to have to stand before this country and with courage articulate the alternatives and tell this president the simple truth. Mr. President, stop the war against innocent children and stop the war for UN sovereignty in Yugoslavia. We will support you no longer.